Two leaders of a notorious Mexican drug cartel are now behind bars in the U.S. The drug kingpin known as El Mayo and one of El Chapo's sons are both accused of sending deadly fentanyl into the U.S.
This morning, two Mexican drug cartel leaders are in federal custody, facing a slew of drug trafficking charges. And arrested with him, the son of El Chapo, another former cartel leader.
In a dramatic turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the world of organized crime, the capture of Ismael El Mayo Zambada, one of the most notorious figures in the Sinaloa cartel, marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing battle against drug trafficking. The Sinaloa cartel has long stood as one of the most powerful and feared criminal organizations in the world. Led for decades by notorious figures such as Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Ismael El Mayo Zambada, the cartel has controlled vast drug trafficking networks stretching across North America. In a shocking turn of events, the U.S. authorities captured El Mayo in July 2024. His arrest signals a potential shift in the landscape of organized crime in Mexico and has thrown the Sinaloa cartel into disarray. This video delves into the circumstances surrounding El Mayo's arrest, the impact on the cartel, and what it means for the future of Mexico's drug wars. The arrest, a shocking turn of events. El Mayo's capture unfolded like a scene from a crime thriller. On the day of his arrest, Zambada was lured to what he believed to be a meeting with trusted allies at a ranch near Culiacan, Mexico. Instead, he was betrayed by a faction within his own cartel, led by Joaquin Guzman Lopez, son of El Chapo Guzman Lopez, who had been working closely with U.S. authorities, convinced Zambada to attend the meeting under the guise of discussing cartel business. Upon arrival, Zambada was ambushed, bound, and taken by plane to a private airport in New Mexico, where U.S. federal agents were waiting to take him into custody. The betrayal sent terrifying signal through the criminal underworld. El Mayo had long been regarded as a master tactician, but his downfall came from within, a move orchestrated by his former ally's son. This internal power struggle marked a turning point for the Sinaloa cartel, which now faces unprecedented challenges as it grapples with leadership voids and infighting the legacy of El Mayo. Ismael Zambada, also known as El Mayo, is a veteran in the world of drug trafficking. Unlike his former associate El Chapo, who embraced a flamboyant public persona, El Mayo operated from the shadows. His ability to avoid capture for so long was attributed to his careful strategy of keeping a low profile. Despite his advanced age, believed to be in his early 70s, El Mayo was the architect behind many of the Sinaloa cartel's most sophisticated drug operations, focusing on trafficking fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. He was seen as a stabilizing force within the cartel, especially after El Chapo's capture and subsequent imprisonment in the United States. However, his quiet reign over the Sinaloa cartel came to an abrupt end on July 25, 2024, when he was arrested in a covert operation by U.S. authorities. His capture was not only a significant victory for law enforcement, but also a massive blow to the Sinaloa cartel. Cartel infighting and the fallout. The arrest of El Mayo has intensified tensions within the Sinaloa cartel. The cartel, which had already been divided into two main factions, one loyal to El Mayo and the other to the sons of El Chapo, known as the Chapitos, has erupted into further conflict. Guzman Lopez's role in the capture has been seen by many as a calculated move to consolidate power and weaken the Mayo faction, which has long been led by El Mayo. In the wake of El Mayo's capture, violence in Sinaloa has escalated. The Mexican army has deployed additional troops to the region, as clashes between the Chapitos and the remnants of El Mayo's faction have erupted into open warfare. In the weeks following his arrest, several violent incidents were reported in Sinaloa, including a deadly confrontation in the town of Alota, which left 7 people dead. The internal power struggle within the cartel has left communities in the region on edge. Many fear that the violence will only escalate as both factions vie for control over lucrative drug trafficking routes. Sources from within the cartel suggest that the Chapitos are keen to eliminate any remaining threats from El Mayo's loyalists, leading to a surge in assassinations and violent confrontations. International implications in the U.S.-Mexico drug war. The arrest of El Mayo has not only affected the internal dynamics of the Sinaloa cartel, but has also had significant international repercussions. U.S. officials have lauded the capture as a major victory in their ongoing efforts to dismantle the cartel and stem the flow of illicit drugs into the country. Attorney General Merrick Garland hailed the operation as a critical step in holding cartel leaders accountable for their roles in the deadly fentanyl epidemic that has ravaged communities across the United States. However, the arrest has also exposed tensions between U.S. and Mexican authorities. Mexican officials were reportedly caught off guard by the operation, with some expressing embarrassment over their lack of involvement. The incident has raised questions about the transparency and cooperation between the two nations in the fight against organized crime. Despite these challenges, the U.S. government remains committed to working with Mexico to combat the cartels. U.S. Ambassador to Mexico, Ken Salazar, defended the cooperation efforts, emphasizing that both countries are united in their fight against drug trafficking. He also acknowledged the complexity of the situation, noting that arrests of high-profile figures like El Mayo are just one part of a broader strategy to address the root causes of the drug trade, including poverty and corruption. The future of the Sinaloa cartel. The capture of El Mayo has left a leadership vacuum within the Sinaloa cartel. While the Chapitos have made moves to assert their dominance, it remains unclear whether they can maintain control of the cartel's vast operations. El Mayo's son, Ismael Zambada Siqueiros, known as Mayito Flaco, is believed to be leading the Maisa faction in the wake of his father's arrest. However, his ability to unite the cartel and fend off the Chapitos remains uncertain. The future of the cartel will likely depend on how these internal power struggles play out in the coming months. Experts warn that the violence in Sinaloa could escalate further as rival factions battle for control. Meanwhile, the Mexican government faces the daunting task of preventing the situation from spiraling into chaos. The global ripple effect, what El Mayo's arrest means for drug trafficking. El Mayo's capture has not only sent shockwaves through the Mexican drug cartels, but has also had global implications. The Sinaloa cartel was a dominant force in controlling the flow of narcotics from Mexico to the United States, Europe, and beyond. With El Mayo behind bars, the power structure of the cartel is fractured, potentially leading to smaller, splintered groups attempting to fill the void. This could result in a spike in violence and destabilization, not just in Mexico, but in other regions reliant on the Sinaloa cartel's networks. Law enforcement agencies across the world are on high alert, anticipating shifts in drug routes, changes in trafficking patterns, and a possible resurgence of new or existing rival organizations. For governments, this presents both an opportunity to strike hard at a weakened cartel, but also a challenge to prevent the rise of more volatile groups. The arrest of one man, no matter how significant, is unlikely to disrupt the global drug trade without sustained international cooperation and strategic interventions. The arrest of El Mayo Zambada is a landmark event in the global fight against organized crime, but it also leaves many questions unanswered. As factions of the Sinaloa cartel clash for control, and as international law enforcement monitors potential shifts in trafficking patterns, the story of the cartel is far from over. What happens next could reshape the future of the Mexican drug wars and have far-reaching consequences for the global drug trade. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the capture of El Mayo and the intricate dynamics of the Sinaloa cartel. Make sure to subscribe for more crime documentaries and investigations into the dark underworld of organized crime. Don't forget to check out our other videos for more gripping stories from around the world. Stay safe, stay informed, and see you in the next one.